Unleashing Your Inner Superhero, the Trena Hayes Guide to Living Boldly. Welcome, dreamers, doers, and everyone in between. Today, we're diving into a story that's going to light a fire under your aspirations and maybe, just maybe, change the way you look at your own potential. We're incredibly fortunate to share insights from our interview with the remarkable Trena Hayes, a woman whose journey is redefining what it means to chase your dreams in the 21st century. Trena isn't just an entrepreneur or a writer, she's a force of nature, a beacon of hope for anyone who's ever felt stuck between what they do and what they dream of doing. Now, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a world where every single person wakes up excited about their day, where passion and profession aren't at odds but dance together in perfect harmony. Sounds like a fantasy, right? Well, Trena Hayes is living proof that this world isn't just possible. It's within reach for each and every one of us. Trena's story isn't just inspiring, it's a masterclass in audacity. She's the founder of Love Language Events, an event planning business that's taking 2023 by storm. But here's where it gets interesting. Event planning isn't her first love. Writing is. And when Trena talks about writing, folks, it's like watching fireworks on the 4th of July. Her eyes sparkle, her words dance, and you can almost feel the electricity in the air. Writing is very therapeutic for me, she says, with a grin that could light up Times Square. I love everything about it. The creativity is dope. Now, I want you to think about the last time you felt that way about anything. That pure, unadulterated joy that makes you lose track of time and forget to eat. For some of us, it might be a distant memory, buried under mountains of responsibilities and expectations. For others, it might be something we experience daily but take for granted. But for Trena, it's the North Star guiding her journey. Let's rewind a bit. Before Love Language Events, before the book she's currently penning, Trena was just like many of us. Someone with a dream, a passion, and enough what ifs to fill a library. But here's where her story takes a turn that we can all learn from. Instead of letting those what ifs paralyze her, she used them as rocket fuel. Trena's approach reminds me of a quote by the incomparable Toni Morrison. If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. Trena took this advice and ran with it, not just in her writing, but in her approach to life. She saw a gap in the event planning industry, a need for events that truly spoke the love language of her clients. And instead of waiting for someone else to fill that gap, she rolled up her sleeves and created love language events. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's great for Trena, but I'm not a writer or an event planner. How does this apply to me? Well, let me ask you this. What's your writing? What's that thing that makes your soul sing? That thing you do even if you had to pay for the privilege? Because that, my friends, is where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. Trena's story isn't just about following your passion. It's about the courage it takes to do so. Starting a business in 2023, especially in the event industry that was hit harder than a piñata at a kid's birthday party by the pandemic, that's not for the faint of heart. But Trena didn't let fear hold her back. She embraced the challenge, and guess what? It's doing so well so far, she says, with a mix of pride and humility that's truly inspiring. But here's the real kicker, folks. Trena isn't content with just one dream. Oh no. While she's running her successful event planning business, she's also currently in the beginning stages of writing my first self-published book. Talk about not putting all your eggs in one basket. This woman is building an entire chicken coop of dreams. This multifaceted approach to pursuing her passions is something we can all learn from. Too often, we fall into the trap of thinking we have to choose. We can be a business person or a creative, a dreamer or a doer. Trena's story shatters that myth like a sledgehammer to a glass ceiling. She's showing us that we can be all of these things and more. Now, I want you to take a moment and really let that sink in. How many times have you told yourself, I can't do that because I'm already doing this? How many dreams have you put on the back burner because you thought you didn't have the time, the energy, or the right to pursue them? If you're anything like me, the answer is probably more times than I'd like to admit. Trena's journey challenges us to rethink those self-imposed limitations. She's running a business, writing a book, and I bet if we asked her, she'd tell us she's got a few more dreams simmering on the back burner. This isn't about burning the candle at both ends or stretching yourself thinner than a pizza dough in Naples, it's about recognizing that our passions aren't competing forces in our lives, but complementary ones. Think about it. Trena's love for writing undoubtedly influences her event planning. The creativity she pours into her stories likely translates into unique, memorable events for her clients. And the business acumen she's developing as an entrepreneur, you can bet that's going to come in handy when it's time to market and sell her book. This is the kind of synergy we should all be striving for in our lives. Finding ways to make our various passions and skills work together, amplifying each other instead of competing for our time and attention. But let's be real for a moment. This journey of Trena's, as inspiring as it is, hasn't been all unicorns and rainbows. Starting a business is tough. Writing a book is tough. Doing both at the same time, that's like trying to juggle flaming torches while riding a unicycle on a tightrope over a pit of hungry alligators. And yet, when Trena talks about her experiences, there's no hint of complaint, no whisper of regret. Instead, what comes through is a sense of purpose, of joy, of fulfillment. This brings us to another crucial lesson we can learn from Trena's story. Success isn't just about the end result, it's about the journey. It's about waking up every day excited about what you're going to create, who you're going to help, what new challenge you're going to tackle. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the outcome. Trena describes herself as very fun, outgoing, and extremely goofy once I feel comfortable. This ability to find joy in the journey, to not take herself too seriously, even as she's pursuing serious goals, that's a superpower. It's what allows her to keep pushing forward, to keep dreaming bigger, to keep expanding her horizons. And let's talk about that for a moment, the power of joy in our pursuits. Too often we fall into the trap of thinking that serious goals require serious faces. We put on our professional masks, our adult personas, and we leave our joy, our goofiness, our authentic selves at the door. But Trina's story suggests that this might be counterproductive. By bringing her whole self to her endeavors, the serious, dedicated entrepreneur and the fun, goofy creative, Trina creates a unique brand, a unique voice that sets her apart. In a world where authenticity is increasingly valued, this is a powerful strategy. But more than that, it's a recipe for sustainability. When we enjoy what we do, when we can be ourselves in our pursuits, we're more likely to stick with them through the tough times. We're more likely to push through the challenges, to keep going when things get hard. Because at the end of the day, we're not just working towards a goal, we're living a life we love. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, that's all well and good, but I'm not there yet. I haven't found my passion. I don't know what my writing is. And to you, I say that's okay. Trena's story isn't meant to make you feel bad about where you are. It's meant to inspire you to start looking, to start exploring, to start being open to the possibilities. Remember, Trena didn't start love language events or begin writing her book in a vacuum. These pursuits grew out of her experiences, her interests, her unique perspective on the world. Your passion, your purpose, they're out there too. They might be hiding in a hobby you've neglected, a problem you've always wanted to solve, or a skill you've always admired in others. The key is to start exploring, start trying new things, start paying attention to what makes you lose track of time, what makes you feel alive, what makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning, because that's where you'll find your writing. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you start looking, once you start pursuing those interests and passions, you'll find that doors start to open. Opportunities arise, connections are made. Just like Trena's love for writing led her to event planning, which is now feeding back into her writing, you'll find that one passion often leads to another. That skills you develop in one area can be surprisingly applicable in another. This is the power of living a life driven by passion and purpose. It's not about having it all figured out from the start. It's about being open to the journey, being willing to take those first steps, even when you're not sure where they'll lead. But let's dig a little deeper. Let's talk about the fears that hold us back, the doubts that creep in when we're on the verge of taking that leap. Because make no mistake, Trina faced those fears too. Starting a business, especially in an industry as competitive as event planning, is no small feat. It requires courage, resilience, and a healthy dose of what I like to call productive stubbornness. Trina shared with us a moment when she almost gave up. It was early days for love language events, and she had poured her heart and soul into planning a client's wedding. The day of the event, everything that could go wrong did. The flowers were late, the caterer mixed up the menu, and the DJ's equipment malfunctioned. Trina felt like she was juggling chainsaws while walking on quicksand. In that moment, she had a choice. She could have thrown in the towel, admitted defeat, and chalked it up to experience, but that's not Trina. Instead, she took a deep breath, rallied her team, and got to work. She personally picked up the flowers, sweet talked the caterer into whipping up some last minute substitutions, and even DJ'd part of the reception herself using her phone and a borrowed speaker. The result, the bride and groom were overjoyed, calling it the most memorable wedding ever. And Trina, she learned that she was capable of far more than she ever imagined. That day could have been the end of love language events. Instead, it became the day Trina truly became an entrepreneur. This story illustrates a crucial point. Our greatest growth often comes from our greatest challenges. It's easy to feel passionate and purposeful when everything's going smoothly. The real test comes when we're faced with obstacles, when our dreams seem to be slipping through our fingers like sand. But here's the thing, those moments of crisis, those moments when we're pushed to our limits, that's when we discover what we're truly made of. That's when we tap into reserves of strength and creativity we didn't even know we had. And that's when we have the opportunity to redefine ourselves and our dreams. Trena's wedding day disaster could have been a cautionary tale about the perils of following your passion. Instead, it became a testament to her resilience, her problem solving skills, and her commitment to her clients. It became a story she could tell potential clients, a badge of honor that set her apart in a crowded field. And isn't that what we're all looking for? Not just success, but the kind of success that comes with the story, the kind of success that's earned through sweat, tears, and yes, sometimes a little bit of luck, the kind of success that transforms us in the process of achieving it. This brings us to another important aspect of Trena's journey, the power of authenticity. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with carefully curated social media feeds and polished public personas, Trena's openness about her struggles and her willingness to show her goofy side is refreshing. It's also incredibly powerful. By being authentically herself, the serious entrepreneur, the creative writer, the fun loving goofball Trena creates connections with her clients and her readers that go beyond the transactional. She's not just planning events or writing books, she's inviting people into her world, sharing her passion, her creativity, her joy. And here's the kicker, this authenticity, this willingness to be vulnerable and real, it's not just good for the soul, it's good for business too. In a world where trust is increasingly rare and valuable, authenticity is a currency that pays dividends. So, what does this mean for you? It means that your quirks, your unique perspective, the things that make you you, they're not liabilities to be hidden. They're assets to be embraced. They're the secret sauce that will set you apart in whatever field you choose to pursue. But embracing your authentic self isn't always easy. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there, to risk rejection or ridicule. But as Trina's story shows us, the rewards are worth the risk. When you bring your whole self to your pursuits, when you infuse your work with your passion, your creativity, your unique perspective, you create something that's more than just a product or a service. You create an experience, you create a connection, you create something that's uniquely unmistakably you. And here's the beautiful thing, when you do that, when you show up as your authentic self and put your heart into your work, you attract the right people, the clients who resonate with your vision, the readers who connect with your voice, the collaborators who share your passion. You create a community around your work, a tribe of like minded individuals who support you, challenge you, and help you grow. This is the power of living a life driven by passion and purpose. It's not just about personal fulfillment, although that's certainly a big part of it. It's about creating ripples of positive change that extend far beyond ourselves. It's about inspiring others to pursue their dreams, to embrace their authentic selves, to live lives of passion and purpose. Trina's story is a powerful reminder of this. Through her event planning business, she's not just creating beautiful weddings or successful corporate events. She's creating moments of joy, of connection, of celebration. She's helping people express their love, commemorate their achievements, bring their visions to life. And through her writing, she's not just telling stories, she's inspiring others to embrace their creativity, to pursue their dreams, to believe in the power of their own voices. This, my friends, is what it means to live a life of impact. It's not about grand gestures or world changing inventions, although those are certainly welcome. It's about showing up every day, bringing your best self to your work, and using your unique gifts to make the world a little bit better, a little bit brighter. So, as we wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with the challenge. Inspired by Trena's journey, I want you to take some time this week to explore your passions. Maybe it's dusting off that old guitar in the corner of your room. Maybe it's finally signing up for that coding class you've been eyeing. Maybe it's just setting aside an hour to brainstorm all the crazy, wonderful things you'd love to do if time and money were no object. Whatever it is, give yourself permission to explore. Give yourself permission to be a beginner, to be imperfect, to be gloriously, messily human in your pursuits. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. Remember Trena's words. I want the listeners to leave feeling inspired to go for their goals and dreams. I want listeners to feel like they can conquer anything no matter where they come from. Anything is possible. I want listeners to give 100% to whatever they're trying to achieve. So let's honor Trena's wish. Let's leave this conversation feeling inspired, feeling capable, feeling ready to give 100% to our dreams. Because if Trena's story teaches us anything, it's that with passion, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace our authentic selves, anything truly is possible. As you go about your week, I want you to carry this question with you. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What dream would you pursue? What risk would you take? What story would you write? And then I want you to take one small step towards that dream, because that's how all great journeys begin, with a single step. But don't stop there. I want you to think bigger. I want you to dream harder. I want you to imagine a world where everyone around you is living their passion, pursuing their purpose, bringing their unique gifts to the table. What would that world look like? How would it change your community, your workplace, your relationships? Now, here's the real challenge. Be the catalyst for that change. Share your passion with others. Encourage them to pursue their dreams. Create spaces where authenticity is celebrated, where creativity is nurtured, where dreams are taken seriously. Because here's the truth. Your journey isn't just about you. It's about all of us. When you live your passion, when you pursue your purpose, you give others permission to do the same. You become a beacon of possibility, a living, breathing example of what's possible when we dare to dream big and act boldly. So go forth, my friends. Embrace your inner Trena. Be bold, be authentic, be relentlessly, unapologetically you. Chase your dreams with the ferocity of a lion and the playfulness of a kitten. Fall down, get back up, and keep moving forward. And most importantly, enjoy the journey, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Not just reaching our destination, but savoring every step along the way. Remember, your story is still being written. Make it a bestseller. Make it a page turner. Make it a story that inspires generations to come, because you, yes, you, have the power to change the world, one passion-filled day at a time. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and inspiration. Now go out there and show the world what you're made of. The stage is yours. The spotlight is on. It's time to shine.